Oh, well, okay. So Rosalind, thank you. It's so funny because it was looking like it wasn't live, and I appreciate you letting us know that it is. Because I went to Enlightened World Network and I didn't see it. Anyway, welcome, welcome, welcome. It's Friday. Here we are. Now I see us. Oh my, what a way to start the day, right? Um, so today's topic is permission to be. And we're going to just take a minute to get present. So let's take a deep breath in through your nose and hold it. And imagine clean, crisp oxygen flooding your lungs, flowing into your bloodstream, nourishing all your cells and all your organs, and bringing vital life energy to your body and being. And as you exhale any tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's take another deep breath in through your nose and hold it. This time, imagine brilliant, bright light lighting you up from the inside out, illuminating, electrifying, and energizing all your cells, all your molecules, your electrons, creating a brilliant beam of light and energy from your heart out into the world. And as you exhale, exhale any remaining tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's press our palms together. Vigorously rub your hands together to feel the friction, the temperature, the pressure, the motion, the tickling and tingling when you stop, and allow all those sensations to bring you present right here, right now, into this remarkable physical form through which we experience life. So, welcome, 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 welcome. And Rosalind, thank you for chiming in so I know that this is actually live. And permission to be, like giving ourselves permission to be who we are. What does that look like? Maybe it means allowing ourselves to pursue the things that our soul is calling for, to follow our heart's desire, to give ourselves grace and space to explore and express. I think so much of our culture is oriented to squelching our true desires in the name of responsibility or I don't know. What came into my mind was somebody talking about adulting, becoming an adult, and we have this notion about adulting that means that we don't get to be joyful and playful, and that it's burdensome. And I think that we can bring an element of joyfulness to our adult responsibilities. There are lots and lots of freedoms in being an adult. I know I felt pretty oppressed being a kid, being at other people's whim. And I've often said that one of the best things about, maybe this is a commentary, one of the best things about being an adult is that you get to eat dessert first, or just dessert if that's what you want. But I don't really think that that's one of the best. It is one of the best things, but it's certainly not the best thing about being an adult. But I think that we can be adults and give ourselves permission to do the things that we are called to do, to pursue our dreams, rather than to be telling ourselves, oh, that's not practical, or that's not possible, or finding all kinds of reasons why we can't. I have a friend who sent me, who is an airline pilot, and there's a forced retirement age, I guess, of, I'm not sure if it's 65 or 66, but anyway, they just had their birthday. And I think it's 65. And their experience was that they lost their identity and their job all at the same time. And I said, I get it, that's a big deal. And it's also an opportunity to recreate yourself. And it's interesting to, when we recreate ourselves, what is really core to that process is discovering ourselves. And what is our heart calling for? What are our dreams? And I understand it can be a crisis to be facing that after a lifetime of one particular identity or one particular job, especially if that job is a job of your dreams. To be dreaming new dreams is confronting, or to be dreaming at all can be very confronting. This giving ourselves permission to be. It's so interesting how threatening and confronting it is when the world is just limitless possibility. So when we have the wide open spaces, it can be paralyzing. It can be super intimidating. And the question is, where do we start? Maybe we start with the listening to those sometimes very quiet voices, because they've been silenced for so long. Those quiet whispers within that say, oh, that would be fun. I think it's like cultivating a new muscle, to be listening to, oh, that would be fun. And then as we explore that, then more possibility, more opportunity opens on the heels of that, and gives us more opportunity to discover. And the whole idea is to become more enlivened, giving ourselves the opportunity to be, permission to be ourselves. And we've spoken about this before, but I so believe that it is the whispers of our soul that are directing us into our fullest expression, that are directing us in the direction of becoming what we came here to be, of expressing the gifts that we have, of finding a greater fulfillment. And initially, it may look like simple things, like giving yourself permission to, in my case, when I was first exploring the permission thing, it was giving myself permission to just watch TV for as long as I wanted to, until I didn't want to anymore. And it took a while. Like, I gave myself permission to do nothing. I think that's actually where it started, you know, to just be able to be, to give myself permission to do nothing. And I watched TV for a long time, weeks and weeks, until I finally was like, oh, okay, now I feel like I would like to do something else. I would like to, you know, I was hearing the whispers more. They weren't obscured, and I started to have some desire and drive to do something else that was also expressive of me. Rosalind says, until there was nothing else to watch. Honestly, you wouldn't believe, I burned through so many series. Oh my gosh. I binged on oh, I don't know, was it called The Office? I just went Suits. I binged on that. I just, until there was nothing else to watch. That's pretty true, Rosalind. Oh my gosh. Oh, so, but and there was a point where enough was enough, and then I got to go and experience other callings, other desires. I think what it was is I just had been so burnt out that I, with all the obligations, responsibilities, with my will overriding my desire, that that I just had to zombie out for a while. And I think we go through these ebbs and flows. I've seen it in myself, I've seen it in clients, where we go through periods of great productivity and clarity and drive and direction, and then we go through um, a retraction or a contraction, a maybe even a hibernation, and a gathering. You know, there's this expending and then the gathering, expending and the gathering, and we're going into winter here. So winter is typically a time of hibernation, of that kind of gathering and concentrating of resource. And so maybe recognizing that we have these cycles, giving ourselves grace rather than judgment. You know, what does that look like, to be able to allow ourselves the grace of those ups and downs, instead of judging and driving all the time, like to just get to a place of being. I spoke to an ex-client yesterday who had gone on a pilgrimage kind of journey to Peru, with shamans and sacred medicine, and they were speaking about how profound an experience it had been, and that they came back with the ability to just be, present, to be present to nature, to be present to their thoughts and their body and being in the context of life, without the driving need to do anything, to make anything happen, just to be present. And this is the place of presence and awakening that we that I think our souls are yearning for, that it's in letting go of the need to be driving ourselves to accomplish anything, that we actually get to be present in life. And then it's from that space of presence that true inspiration can emerge. And the doing that we do comes from that space of being rather than from a space of obligation or dominating ourselves, trying to control ourselves, trying to corral ourselves into any particular action. There's a greater sense of being in the flow of life. And I would think I was talking a little bit yesterday about the money exercise that we had done in my cohort, my training cohort. But there was another part of it that was really quite beautiful. And it's not just about money, it's about the flow of life. And so many of us stand on the shores of this vast river of life that has endless tributaries. We stand on the shores and we watch, or we stick our toe in, or we start wading into the river and feel the slime on the rocks underneath our feet, that in the slipperiness or the jaggedness, and we might be complaining at the discomfort, and maybe the temperature at first feels a little uncomfortable, and we're just sort of wading in delicately or with resistance. And then when we finally allow ourselves to float, when we just allow ourselves to fall onto our back and let the water take us, that's when life becomes a space of ease and acceptance and grace and flowing with the river, dancing with the river, dancing with life. And we have the opportunity to move into all these different tributaries and just be carried by life. I'm reminded of this wonderful, I guess it was sort of a poem or a story that is on a greeting card I've seen. It's like when in life I've seen two sets of footprints, one mine and one God walking beside me. It could be life, whatever you call it, source. And then in the hardest of times, there was only one set of footprints. And it wasn't because I was alone, but it was because source was carrying me through. And I know that I like that image of allowing ourselves to be carried by life rather than struggling against it, rather than fighting it. And part of that is allowing ourselves just to be. Like, we beat the heck out of ourselves for all kinds of things where we make ourselves not good enough and unacceptable, and finding ways to hate ourselves, whether it's for our bodies or our behavior or our station in life, or we find all kinds of ways to be making ourselves inadequate rather than to just giving ourselves permission to be and finding humor and grace in that is such a gift. We take ourselves so very seriously and have been taught and conditioned to this violence against self, against life, against others. You know, this judgment, and we learn to make ourselves right by making others wrong, or we make ourselves wrong by making others right, rather than finding the curiosity to be in awe of the continuum and the range of behaviors and interpretations, and kind of the wonder. There's so much wonder available to us. And between wonder and curiosity, I think those both can be tremendous tools in the process of allowing ourselves to be compassionate observers of our own lives, of the world, of life. And it's amazing how, excuse me, it's amazing how the power of curiosity can transform even the most fractious kinds of interactions. Authentic curiosity. If we can really, because what happens when we become curious is by default, we become less attached. We become more circumspect. Rosalind says, making peace is the bridge. The heart will guide the soul through the abyss. You're such a poet, Rosalind. Really, really. That's quite beautiful. So making peace and curiosity allows us to extract ourselves from attachment to our perspective in a way that keeps us rigid. So the curiosity is like a lubricant that allows us to flow more easily. And so that's the invitations. Cultivate curiosity about yourself. Look at, and the world. Look at what will it take to give yourself permission to really be you, to really find your own unique expression. And you can do it baby steps. You can do it just like one little step at a time, and give yourself permission to do what you really want to do and find out how that feels. And then do it again and again and again. So with that, it's Friday. So I wish you lots of curiosity and wonder and joy into the weekend, and deepening into your life. Good morning, good evening, Gia. Hello, hello. Yes, I'm sorry. So Gia said she was making comments and finally realized that I could only see comments in this space. So if you ever write comments and I don't respond, it's because I don't see them. So Gia, I'm so glad you found us, and wishing everybody a marvelous weekend. And until next time, well, first, I'm Mira Rubin. This is the Core Connection. I go live each weekday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern here on the Enlightened World Network Facebook page and YouTube channel. And please check out the other wonderful programming on Enlightened World Network and Enlightened World Living. And as always, I so deeply appreciate you and the opportunity to muse together and explore together. And so until next time, so much love to you.